Unfortunately, I'm starting to get this gut feeling that we might not even see Caitlyn back on the court this season, and that might actually be the best thing. Caitlyn should be out for the rest of the season. Maybe this season is just done for her. Maybe it doesn't make sense.
Injury report that Caitlyn Clark is a game time decision. I think they did that for ticket sales. I think they knew that we all was going to pick up on that and pretty much say, well, you know what? There's a chance Caitlyn Clark could be coming back for this game, maybe even that game.
Caitlyn Clark just dropped a bombshell about walking away from the Indiana Fever, and trust me, this is something that's going to have the WNBA scrambling for damage control. You wouldn't believe the chaos behind her injury and what's going on with her career right now.
The Caitlyn Clark injury. Let's listen to her, bro.
Caitlyn starting full court running last week. Has she been able to do anything extra since then or return to practice at all?
No return to practice. She's been able to get a little bit more in her full court running, with her all of her body weight. It's really building up from doing minimal to then building some endurance to do longer periods of time. She's been able to do a little bit more on the court in terms of how she moved.
Caitlyn Clark's.
So there is really no timetable as to when Caitlyn Clark could return. Y'all got me? There was no set time as when CC could possibly be coming back. And as of right now, the Indiana Fever is looking real spooky because they're not keeping it at 100.
But don't jump to conclusions just yet. There's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. And let me tell you, this is the real story, not the watered-down fluff the WNBA's been trying to sell you.
But it's looking like he don't care for Caitlyn Clark. We know clear as day that Stephanie White has been looking in certain areas not to be feeling the Caitlyn Clark effect. I don't know, but this stuff is definitely looking concerning because
Caitlyn Clark, the Indiana Fever's shining star, has been sidelined since July 17th, nursing a serious injury. The WNBA? They've been fumbling the ball since day one, providing vague and contradictory updates about her condition. First, they tell us it's day-to-day. Okay, that's standard protocol when it's a minor issue. But then they hit us with the out indefinitely bombshell.
Specifically, the reporting around Caitlyn Clark's injury, because I feel like it is getting stranger by the day. It has been a month now that Caitlyn has...
But it didn't stop there. The WNBA didn't just leave us hanging, they started playing games with our emotions. Next, they put her down as a game-time decision against Dallas. A game-time decision for a player who hasn't practiced in weeks. Seriously? This isn't just about injury updates, it's about something bigger, ticket sales. And they know it, but what they don't want you to know is this isn't even the first time they've done this. You've been lied to before, and it gets worse.
Yesterday, she was listed as a game time decision for today's game against the Dallas Wings. And then after practice yesterday, Coach Stephanie White basically came out and said, no, Caitlyn Clark hasn't even been practicing. So they changed it from a game time decision to her being out.
Let's talk about that so-called game time decision. Here's the thing, Caitlyn Clark hasn't practiced. Not a single full practice since her injury. She's been out for weeks, and yet they're still putting her on the injury report as a game-time decision. It's like they're hoping fans won't notice.
At the Indiana Fever's schedule right now, they only have 12 games left, and there is exactly 4 weeks left in the regular season.
And the worst part? This isn't some isolated incident. No, this has happened before. Mid-season, Clark came back from a quad injury after exactly one full-speed practice, and what happened? She got hurt again. Are you kidding me?
Replying to someone else's comment who said, just can't wait until Cece is back. She's the most dynamic, electric player in the WNBA. Great job, Lexi. And then Scott Agnes replied and he said, have patience, at least several more weeks.
On one fateful night against Phoenix, everything went wrong for the Fever. Backup point guard Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald went down for the season, both suffering career-changing injuries. Colson tears her ACL in the first quarter, and McDonald breaks her foot in the fourth. It was like watching a train wreck in real time.
Contenders at this point, I'm just not so sure. Do you risk another injury that can again compound and turn into something else down the line? Now, one other
Coulson wasn't just some role player. She was a leader on the court. She had her moments and was one of the most steady hands the Fever had in times of crisis. But now, she's out for the season, and for good. And McDonald, just when she was proving herself, showing she could be the spark the team needed, goes down too. Just brutal.
A star player like that, we will never know all the information, nor should we know all the information, and that's actually good for Caitlyn. It protects her for when she does come back on the court. She can't be targeted. Teams can't use a certain injury or ailment against her if people don't really know what is going on. But
the real kicker here, the timing. The trade deadline had passed just 4 days earlier. 4 days. The Fever were completely stuck, unable to make any moves. Here's where it gets truly absurd. The trade deadline had already passed by the time Coulson and McDonald were sidelined, 4 days earlier. So now the Fever are stuck with no options, no reinforcements, no late-season trade to save the day.
Thrown back into any mix if she doesn't have significant practices under her belt before she goes into game speed. You can try to simulate game speed as much as you want in practice.
That's the kind of timing that would make anyone scratch their head. If the Fever had a chance to trade for a player who could step in and fill the void left by Coulson and McDonald, they missed it. Instead, they're left staring at a bare-bones roster with no answers. And with their roster looking thinner than ever, it's no surprise the Fever's chances of making the playoffs are looking more and more like a pipe dream.
Coulson sustained an anterior cruciate ligament ACL tear. Sydney then to her ACL in her left knee during the first quarter of the game.
It began in the first quarter.
With Caitlyn Clark on the court, the Fever were 8-5, solid, right? But without her, they're 9-7. Not catastrophic, but definitely a downward trend. And when you look at their roster now, it's a far cry from the competitive team they were at the start of the season.
I think you're wrong. Again, you think it'll be a couple more weeks before CC returns to practice. Please stop always saying negative and depressing hit about Caitlyn Clark. She has been running full court consistently as reported for over a week. She may be...
Their playoff chances are slipping away, and with each game, it's becoming clearer. Without Clark, the Fever don't stand a chance. But here's the thing. Without Clark, the Fever are going to limp into the playoffs as a low seed, probably around 8th place.
Dottie Boy is right, and it's still going to be a couple weeks. You should want to be encouraging to the fans, bro. Like, let's just give it some time. Not just it's going to be a couple weeks. Like, I don't know what's going on.
But here's where it really hits you. While the Fever's season slips further, fans are beginning to realize they've been fed nothing but lies about Clark's status. Fans are catching on. They're seeing the contradiction in the injury reports, the vague updates, and the complete lack of transparency. And the more they dig, the more they realize that Clark's real status has been hidden from the public for weeks.
Now, initially, it was a growing strain, like a pulled muscle. Caitlyn Clark has not played a game since July the 17th. It is now August 12th. In 5 days, Caitlyn Clark...
Some are even speculating that Clark has already been ruled out for the rest of the season quietly, behind closed doors. But why would the league keep that under wraps? To keep ticket sales up, of course. If they were to say Clark's out for the season, that would kill any hype and likely kill their ticket sales too. But why are they doing this? Why keep the fans in the dark? It's not just bad PR, it's outright manipulation.
Cohesion might be the right word. They've had cohesion issues this entire season. When Caitlyn Clark is in, the team plays completely different than when Caitlyn Clark is not on the court.
Let's talk about the bigger picture here. Rushing Caitlyn Clark back onto the court could have serious long-term consequences for her career. You think the WNBA cares about that? No. They're too focused on the short-term boost in ticket sales, ignoring the fact that pushing Clark back could end her career prematurely.
A whole 30-plus days for a pulled muscle, essentially. I've been saying this. Caitlyn Clark adding that muscle was way too fast. Probably messed up her mobility, and her basically her equilibrium is off. Her balance is off.
One wrong move, one more injury, and it could all be over. Is it really worth it? But the team, the league, they're willing to risk it. They're gambling with her career for the sake of a few extra games, a few more headlines. And here's the thing. This isn't just about Caitlyn Clark. It's about the league's entire approach. The WNBA's got a serious problem, and Caitlyn Clark is just the latest victim. They've got their entire season and their future riding on the health of one player, Caitlyn Clark. The playoffs, the national attention, the ticket sales, all of it depends on her making a miraculous return.
Practice, she's been able to get a little bit more in her full court running, with her all of her body weight. It's really building up from doing minimal to then building some endurance to do longer periods of time. She's been able to do a little bit more on the court in terms of how she moves.
Caitlyn Clark's.
But here's the issue. They're treating Clark like a pawn in a high-stakes game, a game they're bound to lose if they keep playing it this way. The league's entire strategy is based on one player's injury recovery, and that's not just a gamble. It's a disaster waiting to happen. It's not just the Fever who are suffering. The entire league is walking a tightrope, and they've got no safety net.
Possibly be injury prone Maybe. You know what I'm saying? We don't know because they're not being transparent with the injury. They're saying it's a growing strain. It's clearly not a strain, guys. I just want to let you know. Now, Stephanie White said this yesterday.
Now let's talk about what's really going on behind the scenes. The WNBA is trying to control the narrative, but fans aren't buying it. They can see through the lies and manipulation. They know the truth, and the league is doing everything it can to keep them in the dark.
Well, this is the kind of update I never want to have to give. And this is a bad one, and it affects the same position.
The truth is simple. Caitlyn Clark's injury has been mishandled from the start, and the WNBA is too afraid to admit it. They've been stringing fans along, hoping they'll buy into the idea of a comeback that's never going to happen. And if you thought the worst was over, think again. The WNBA's got a long way to go before they fix this mess, and Caitlyn Clark may be the last player they ever want to mismanage again.
We lost two very, very competent players, including the starting point guard that was filling in for the other starting point guard.
The WNBA's mismanagement of Caitlyn Clark's injury is just the latest in a long line of failures. From conflicting injury reports to poor decision-making about her return, the league is failing its players and its fans. But the real question is, what's going to happen when they finally admit the truth?
They only have 12 games left, and there is exactly 4 weeks left in the regular season. And the craziest thing about this last groin injury with Caitlyn Clark is how it's been covered.
Is the WNBA ready to face the consequences of its actions, or will they keep playing this game of smoke and mirrors, hoping the fans don't catch on? One thing's for sure, the next update on Caitlyn Clark could very well be the final nail in the league's coffin. If you want the truth behind the scenes, hit that like button, subscribe, and join us as we keep uncovering the WNBA's biggest failures. Because trust me, this is just the beginning.